Good night, guys. I hope everybody had a great weekend so far. And as you guys can see, let's start with our futures. ES is literally flat, 0, 0, which I prefer. I prefer don't have any gap up or gap down, because then we know exactly where are our dip buys and sell points without needing to worry about adjusting or something's overextended or not. You already ripped to the sell zone, or you know what I mean. So I don't mind at all about flat opens. So there's not much to say here. We did that little, kind of did a very shallow flag over here, if you can call that, and then we push through. And now we need to break this high, like just as simple as that. That's the 3018. So now we need to break that. Let's see. So this is the intraday on ES. Our main point for the trading days 301150 on the ES. Our first resistance is going to be 3020. So if we stay above this, we have 80% chance of hitting that 3020. If we crack under and hold under, we have 30% of hitting the 3005 first. Our weekly is 29.98, so as long as we remain above 29.98.58 for the week, we're still bullish on the wick. So as a deal hunter, I would love to see some sort of sell at the open for me to get in, maybe around here. And then we confirm, and we can do something like this, and then grab long for a test of 3025, the 3020.75. But if he can't reclaim, then the situation is going to be like this. If he can reclaim, then we test over here, which is also, if you guys can see, was kind of a level on Friday. Let's see here. Let me change this to 5 minutes so I can have a better view. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be a strong point. If it buys there, it's going to be even better. If you can see, as you can see, this pivot, oh gosh, 1 second. TOS sometimes drive me nuts. Okay. Where I was. Okay. So as you can see, this pivot here was also a level multiple days. If you draw a line here, you can see how this pivot was also a level on multiple days on the on S&P 500. So if we dip on this area, I'll be very interested in dip buying on a hold. So just look for reversal patterns and any type of confirmation you like to take when you dip buying. And if we lose that, then definitely gonna test the weekly. But as of now, this is a very strong support level, and the market is on buy dip mode. So you have to be aware of that, of the market conditions. And this thing goes all the way there too. So let me change. Let me use the price level. So as you can see here, a little bit of here and here. So yeah, that's definitely like it could almost, I like to use the weekly main as the line in the sand for the wheat, but this could be like the cat is on the roof kind of situation, because it had all this support over here. We really don't want it to lose it. Although I really like uh, buying sale prices on the main weekly. But keep an eye on this 3005 price level if we get there. And I think that will be the two things I will look for. If we can hold this pivot here, I go long. If we don't hold, I'll be waiting for this level to see how it reacts to go long. Now, if we, for any reason, we push super overextended to this one, I will probably maybe try a short position. So let's say we just shoot, oops, not this one. We shoot up to these levels here. I may try to get a short scalp, not like a, oh my gosh, this is gonna drop 20, 30 points. No, just a short scalp. Maybe a retest of this level here, which is about 5 points on ES. That's a pretty good scalp. So they'll also be watching that. Let's move forward on the other futures. Let's check natural gas. Natural gas just love the pivot zones. You can trade this all the time. Okay, bounce there, bounce, bounce, bounce. Now we couldn't break this one more time. This zone here that we have been watching for what, a week or so? Yeah, about a week. We came here, sold off, came back there, couldn't hold, sold off again. The good thing is that we are holding those levels we mentioned. We didn't want it to go below this level, and then just keep doing those higher support, proving the higher support. So for example, this was previous resistance right here. Once we push through, we came here, we want this support now to be the higher low, which happened. Push through again, we want this support to be the higher low, which happened. And now we push it again, and we need another higher low. I would prefer at least another higher low. But if it double bottoms here, is fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that setup. As you can see, this pivot was also marked real quick. Roughly was also here, all these levels. So that also adds another layer on support other than the pivot. So this is the most important quarterly pivot we have, which is the main quarterly pivot. And that's why on the addition of those previous price points, we have that holding as a strong support, and we really wanted to stay above it this time. Let's see. Did we even test this pivot? No, just sold off before the month started. So let's see if we can reclaim this, and then we can move forward on natural gas. This is the intraday. I just want to see our weekly. Oh, so it's testing the weekly line in the sand right now. As you guys can see here, it's trying to hold, but it kind of look a little bit iffy. I'll not be surprised if we don't hold, do something like this. It's not looking the strongest right now. So it needs to hold this and then reclaim the daily main pivot, which is, let me change the variables here so I can grab the exact number for you guys. No. Okay, try less candles, 100 candles. Okay, is it 2.445? So we have this is the strongest zone, and we don't want it to become resistance. It's 2436, 2445 for tomorrow. That's the main zone for tomorrow. And you can see that resistance we have, how you play it. Just, find reversal patterns on the resistance and on the support zones. So yeah, we can check again and see how it's doing after we do the tickers. So if you guys want tickers, me to check any specific ticker, just post on the Zoom room, on the Zoom group chat. And after I do the futures, I'll start doing the tickers. Let's check gold. Okay. So it's doing these lower highs. And it did a double bottom here, but it hold a higher low here. Yeah, so it needs to keep holding this. Oh, there is another pivot here. I didn't mark. Right here. Come on, hand, stop shaking. There we go. So ideally, the same situation as natural gas, we wanted the higher support to hold. At this time, we want this one to hold here, 13.70 for a push up. So this is what we have right now, right? We did like this, we kind of test it again. Test the bottom one more time, push through, reject on this one. And now we retest over here, and we want this to hold and push through. And contrary of this time, we want it to hold on the top over here for another wave up. Just like that. Now, if we lose this, we're probably going to retest over here again. And the question is how many times it can hold here before it goes a little bit lower. The key support zone is still going to be the 1374.20, 1380.40 for the year and for this entire quarter. So this is the strongest support we have right now. We didn't revisit after we broke out, so we could retest that at some point. We'll see how it behaves. Let's check real quick the intraday levels. Now that's a good sign. The main day pivot is 1370, which is exactly the level of the higher time frame pivot we have. So that's going to add a double support over there. And we definitely wanted this to hold, just like the natural gas. So this is going to be our main support zone on gold for the entire week. 14.1160, 14.30, 14.1370. So that's what we had to keep an eye on. Okay, so we check gold. Let's check oil. Yeah, oil has been so kind to us. It's just ridiculous. So I came here, retest our buy zone. We got back in. This is the drawing from last week. As you guys could see, it's just, it was very nice. It came here, it did exactly what we wanted, push through, retest, and then push to the next zone. Now what we need to do is that zone needs to hold. No more fooling around. It needs to hold that zone for us. This is not a pivot, it's just a support level, support resistance level. So I don't like to mark those because we are trading with the algos, and if we start adding more stuff, then we are not trading with the algos 100%. So this is what they're seeing. We need to hold this as is. This is more like a pennant, right? So we have the pole right here, and we're doing this so far. And now we need this to just do like this and go for us to hit the next major level, which is, let me change one more time. If you guys have been on my stream before, I do this all the time because I mess it up. 61.89. So we want this pattern to complete and resolve to the upside and then hit our next target, which is 61.89. Okay. If we don't resolve this to the upside, then we're going to retest that 58.14, 58.48 again. Now let's check what is our main level on the week. That's our pennant intraday. Where are you? Right here, 59.54. Way down there. So it's the bullish until it breaks under there, which will kind of, if we have another down here on this pennant, we'll go right there, which will be very hilarious. So if instead of breaking out on this leg, we do another leg down, we're gonna go test right there. So we shall see what happens. The main day zone for tomorrow is going to be 60.35. And that's what we had to keep in mind for a bullish day. Can you guys hear me now? Man, where did you guys lost me? $8.23 during silver. Okay. So I'll go through real quick on 6. I'm watching 6 because if we push through this quarterly pivot here, we had this strong level at 53.34 to 53.44. As you guys can see, there has been a swinging door all the way for last months, and we finally broke through, and we're holding above this pivot. We reject the zone, so what I want to see is a hold, push through, retest, and then we can see a 58 level. Now, what I was saying is that this 55.80 is a very strong resistance zone. So what we need to do is take a partial and see what else we can get from here. So let me mark this. Come on, shake your hand. There we go. So this here is going to be a very strong resistance point on the stock. And I want to take a partial and make sure we can push through on the rest of the position. So the main levels I'm watching for the buy is 53.65, 53.85 on 6. If you guys have any tickers, just let me know. Put on the chat, please. What else? I want to just mention Amazon. Amazon was just the best call we had last week. Let me chart. Okay. So it was Sunday. We did the call Sunday for the week. And we said we were looking to dip by this zone here. And look what happened. Amazon dipped there. We did that little reversal pattern. And then look what happened from 1930 all the way to 2034. There's 100 points. 100 points, guys. So congratulations to everybody that took that call. That was just an amazing run. Just an amazing run. Now, what's going on with Amazon? We have Prime Day coming this week, and we have Netflix earnings. So this week is going to be very interesting. What's going on with Amazon? Amazon went below that quarterly setup we have. We could have shorted over here and take it on the next pivot. And now it's doing this higher lows and squeezing on the resistance. With the catalyst, I would not be surprised if we have another run. So what we're looking for, we're looking to dip by one more time. Ideally, really wanted this to hold. Didn't want to, I mean, if you want to give me a cheaper price, I'll take it, but a hold here would be better, just because we don't want the market to go freak out if Amazon dips all the way to 1991, right? But if it dips there again, I'll be waiting for it. I'll be waiting for this zone for sure. So if we have a sell-off at the open, same setup as that day, I will be looking here to dip buy and then see if we can retest this first. Needs to hold support. And here, once we break this, we are off the races. I'm going to retest that 2030s again. And if we break that, the next higher time frame level I have is 2055. So that would be very nice. That's 60 points. And if you break that, the next higher time frame I have is 2096, 81, 2099. That would be one heck of a run. So we'll see if we can get that, right? That would be the idea. If this almost looking like it's almost looking like a bull flag, right? On the 4-hour chart. You have the pennant here. I mean, you have the pole, and then you have the flag. So if you want to give us a dip buy here to complete this pattern like this, I'm not going to complain at all. And then we run. But if it breaks and hold this 2015, then that's okay too. I'll take there. And then we run, we see how much we can take it. Okay, let's check UNH. UNH. Okay. I don't remember when we call UNH. Shortham probably knows, but I can't remember. It was last week, I believe. It was, well, I think it was either because of the yearly pivot or the main monthly, but anyways, now we ran hard. It was hard, and now we are on resistance. As you can see, this line here, you have all of this going on. You see all of this going on over here. So that's going to be a very important zone. We can even make a zone on it if we mark last quarter's pivot right here. Come on. There we go. So this could be the resistance zone right there. And what we have to see here is either a cool off, like a pullback to here, hold, and then maybe do like the flag setup we just saw on many tickers. And then we try again, hold and push. So as of now, it's still a bullish setup. We may have a little pullback on it. If we don't, just watch this zone here to push through and hold. Because as you guys know, one of my favorite setups is when we push through resistance and we can't hold. And then we do something like this and we take the short. But if said that, so watch for a hold if we just push through. Let's see. The main weekly is 258.70. So 258 is all the way around here. We don't want to test that yet. Really want a higher flag. And the main day is 264.68. So that's what's gonna determine the sentiment for the day. If it dips here, look for a reversal and then take a partial at the 264.75, and then you try to ride the rest to retest that resistance. Maybe even take a partial around 26.580s after you break here, so another buck up, take some partial, and then we wait to see how we test that. Somebody asked me to check BABA. So this is a perfect example of the setup I like to short. right here, lose resistance, retest, can't push, and then we short. But I usually don't watch Baba. It's just a little bit crazy. Although follow very well the pivots, but it just don't like it too much. But let's check it out. Just trying to get a bigger view of what's going on. Okay, that's better. Okay. I see why it's holding there. We have this quarter pivot here, pivot here. So it's like a zone. Then we have over here. Yeah. So let's get a better view. There we go. Okay. So we're trying to hold this little zone here formed by former quarterly pivots. Right there. Still doing, bring the clock off here, so we don't know if this is gonna do a green candle or it's gonna go back down. But as of right now, it's a lower high and you have lower lows. So yeah, I will not take a long on this unless we retest down here and hold, or we break above over here. So either a dip at 166.23, 168.80 zone, hold, or a break and push, a break and hold of 171.04. Now, if we lose this, then look for dip buy at 163.40, 163.87. And we really don't want it to go lower than here. This is the line in the sand for the month. If we break this, we're most likely going to retest the yearly pivot again. And I don't think that's something the bulls want to happen. So watch for that. If you are bullish on it, wait for the dips or wait for a confirmation break and hold. That will be the best for you to do. So why we always wait for the key zones, right? It's simple. Let's say you took a position here, right in the middle. You have 2 points down to the support and 2 points up to the resistance. That's not a good risk reward, but if you grab over here, your risk is going to be minimal and your reward is going to be 4 points. So that's why we always wait, and we don't want it to be chopped out, right? So let's say you grab over here, push through, and you were like, oh, hopeful this is going to go to the moon, but it came back down so fast. Look at that crazy candle. It will be stopped out. You probably didn't take any partials and you got stopped out for a loss, and you didn't dip buy because you're still regretting of that loss, while you should be thinking about buying when we were here, right? So if you grab over here, you're already in profits. You were up what, 3.5 points. You know, resistance there. You'll be taking already a partial, get the rest, break even, and you'll not be sweating bullets, right? It's not gonna work all the time, but all you can do is manage your risk. I was reading the other day, and I agree 100% with the author saying that the trader's job is to risk management, manage risk, is to manage the risk. If you are able to manage your risk, you're going to be a successful trader. So on BABA, let's check intraday. Okay, so we have triple support over here. That would be awesome to see if we can hold a higher low around over here. Tomorrow, 168.48, 168.97. So we're around here. We're flat on futures, so we don't go anywhere. We test this, do a little dip buy, and then we go. That would be the best case scenario. Let's see what else. Microsoft, okay. Let's check the Microsoft. Oops. Microsoft. You have an entry at 138.88 Friday. 138.88. Right here. We're just marking your entry right here. So you enter on the last minute, I think. Looks like. Okay, so let me see. No pivots there. High time frame. Just checking if we have any meaningful. Okay. I'll mark this one here. Just because we have reactions to it. Right there. Here, 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 here. Okay. Now let's check intraday. Okay, so you be very happy if this can hold tomorrow as support. Now it's still bullish if it stays above. I actually don't want it to go lower than this. Yeah, I really don't want to go. I don't want it to go lower than this. Let me see one thing. Yeah, this could be also a flag forming over here. But if we dip to 137.74, 137.83, still a valid setup as long as we hold. That will be the line in the sand. So we have to keep an eye on that. If it dips here, I'm probably going to look for a long. I don't have a Microsoft position. If it holds, you can consider adding to it and breaking if it doesn't hold at least your added position. That will bring your average down a little bit, and you can cut that, add for a minimal loss, and go from there. Ideally, then we want this to hold like this, and then we go. Targets would be, the first target is 139.35, then 139.80. But the high time frames is 140.29. So if we hold this, we want to hit 140.29. 140.29. And this is the ultimate goal for Microsoft right there. That's where the swing traders wanted to take it. If it's gonna go, that's where it's gonna go. 141.90, 142.21. It has the entire last 15 days on the month to get to there. That's going to be the strong resistance. So if it gets there, keep an eye on it. This 141.02 is around here. Yeah, usually I like to get the previous month's pivot as well. So I'll mark it just for sakes of it. Remember, this is all-time high, so we don't have any history. Best you can do is trade with the algos on this one and follow those pivots. So if we get to that 141, take a partial there as well. And then hopefully we can get the higher touch. The next year is at 149.57, so you know. So from here to here, that would be that iconic mark of 150. So I will not be surprised if we get there as well. Everything is pushing to those key numbers. So just keep taking your partials. You can either leave the rest at break even, or if you're willing to hold for longer term, you can just keep adding on the key supports. So here, right over here, this is the most important level. We don't want to go under here. And keep adding your position, building your position, and see where you can go. I personally don't like to hold below key resistance. I prefer just to cut it and then grab it cheaper and ride from there. But that's my personal approach. There's so many millionaire traders that build their positions, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just how I like to do things. Let's check DIS Disney. Oops. Okay. So DIS finally broke that 143.19 that we talked about for how long? What, almost a month? We have been warning about that 149. Look at that. The yearly pivot is like, ooh, that's a strong resistance, guys. That's the strongest pivot on the board, is the brown pivot, okay? We couldn't break first, we kind of got there, we couldn't hold, couldn't break. We finally pushed through. Back test, this is what we're looking for to confirm this thing is real. So if you are long over here and you trigger profits on the next pivot, you want to reload here. So you reload here on this reversal pattern and you took profits again. Now we wait. Let's see what happens. What is this level? Okay. One more time. 705. $144.94. So we couldn't hold once, couldn't hold twice, but we're still hanging there doing higher lows. So let's see if the intraday gives us a hint. Man, that weekly pivot's all the way down there. But if Disney wants to give me a dip, I'll take it. But I really don't think it's gonna go, but we'll see. It needs to hold this zone here. So the main support, look where it hit on the weekly. Boom, pivot, boom, pivot, boom. And this is our short setup right there. Right here. I'll keep drawing this until you guys keep seeing this in your dreams. So push through, can't hold, retest, right here, the retest. And go down. It even give you another entry retest. couldn't go, and now it gave up. There we go. That it can't get better than that. You don't need to be the first. You don't need to guess the top. You have the pivots, and you know that level is gonna be important. So grab your popcorn, wait for the setup, and take it. So if you're short over here, what will be your stop loss? The high of these candles, right? So what is that? 20 cents? Really, guys? No, it's less. It's like what? 10 cents? That's ridiculous. So let's say you give it a little bit more room, give 20 cents. We're risking 20 cents on this trade. It went from 145.30 to 144.23. So that's what, 1 to 6? That's ridiculous. So that's what I was saying on the chat the other day. Take the extremes. If you don't want to be chopped out, only take extreme setups. Don't try to guess the in-between. Let me erase this. Just grab your popcorn, wait for the setup. Don't try to guess anything. So what we want to do here is that this thing holds support on 144.59, 144.77. Reclaim this 144.94 pivot, hold support, and then go up. We have this pivot from last week that was important, as you guys could see. So we want to know exactly what it is. This I had to change to be gray later. I just can't change when I'm streaming on Zoom. So this is gonna be the key resistance: 145.34, 145.60 for next week. If we hold this key support zone, if we don't hold this, then we're gonna retest this 144, 143.74, and if we can't hold that, ultimately this has to hold. This is going to be the line in the sand to the downside, which is 143.19, 143.35. Now, if for some reason we get there, I'll be watching very closely for a reversal pattern for me to dip buy. And that's what I want to do. Would I short Disney to there? Yes, I would. You guys know I love to short. So what I want to see, if I want to short this, I want to see exactly the same rejection to this zone here as we saw on Thursday and Friday. Or I want to see a rejection, and then we check, we retest this, we can't hold, and then we take a short. But it is a strong stock. It has a lot of good catalysts. So be patient if you want to short. Ride along while you can, and when you can't, just take your puts. Let's see what else. AMD. Okay. So AMD fake out on the downside, tag people out on this 3302, now reclaim, retest here and hold. So you could have taken a position once more. Yeah, totally fake people out on this drop, but you can always get back in, remember? That's the beauty of trading. So what we are seeing here, we definitely want this to hold this time, although the weekly main is at 32.83, which is around right here on the lower of these candles, this one and this one. Kind of 83s are here. So if we dip there and hold, it may not be a bad idea as well. But ideally, I don't want it to revisit. Let me check the futures real quick just so we have an idea. Ah, down to 50 something. Okay. Let me remove this so I can see the candle. Okay. It's a very mild gap down, so far I don't expect much. I'll leave the yes here so we can look, so we can go back. It looks like he wants to retest the 3011. Okay, so let's say we get a dip over here with the futures gapping down mildly. Get a little dip. We want this to hold right here, 3302, 3307. Hold this for long. Boom. If you can't hold, we can take a short to this 3283, where you have to take a profit partial. And if it breaks 3274, then we're gonna have a stronger downside, maybe to 3205. But for long, you want this to hold no lower than the pivot, the weekly main, which is 3283. So no lower than this. And even give it a little zone here if you want to give a little room. Mostly because you had this pivot last week where it kind of has some interactions to it. So that's what the deep buy levels we are watching. If we break all this, we're gonna, I'm only interested in grabbing at 3205. And then we go up, test that 3402 again. This is gonna be a speed bump, 3355. You have another little speed bump at 3373. The pivot is at 3387. Now, if you break this, we're gonna retest that important zone over there, 3441, 3469, where you're gonna have to start taking some profits for real, because that's a very strong cluster, and that's what we're looking for. AMD. Let's check blue. Yeah, the pivot is always there, guys. If you don't know why something, if you don't know support and resistance, don't know how to draw your support and resistance, use the pivots. It's gonna help you a lot. Look at that. Okay, so it couldn't break that cluster 134, 34, 134.70. It pushed through, but it couldn't hold. We also had this previous month, previous quarter here that also had so many good interactions to it. That adds another layer. Let me see if I can zoom in so I mark it precisely. I think I zoom in too much. It's right here, this one. There you go. There we go. Okay. Okay, there you go. Look where we rejected. You gotta love pivots, guys. It's just when you know what you're trading against, it makes things easier. It's like it's not hocus pocus. The algos know all of these levels. The institutions know all these levels. So why make it difficult to yourself? Just play with them. if you don't like to trade with pivots, you can still use your own strategy, but just acknowledge the existence of them. It will make your life easier. So for this week, where this can hold, I want to see if there is a mid-range, mid-level that it can hold this. Okay. This level here from last week was very interesting. As you guys can see, it gave a lot of, it has a lot of weight all week here. So if you can see on the higher time frame, you kind of can see all those right here. Right there. So you really don't want it to go, if it goes lower than that, it needs to hold 130.61, 131.18. So we can have a pattern like higher low over here. Then it needs to break above it again, so it needs to do a push through on that same level and retest this zone if you're a long bias on it. I was not watching this stock. I know the options room has been playing this. If I was watching it, I would probably take a short on that same setup we always talk about. It can, don't get me wrong, you still can hold your calls and still have puts at the same time. So while your call is working, if it's a long-term position, you can still make money on a short-term setup. So I really watch that level if you're long bias. This needs to hold. The daily main resistance is going to be 133.44. So if we are right here right now, if we push through and we can't hold this, I'd probably look for a short setup on it, at least to go back to the same point. If not, retest this zone. Just to take some cost off your calls, you know. Or you can just watch it, just have your key levels. If we lose this one, then the other dip buy level I have will be over here. 128.41, 128.90. So that's what I'll be looking for. If we can hold this, my target would be 140.95, 141.49. Most of the stocks have been recovered and test that main yearly pivot at some point. And it could be the same case with blue. Now it's a bio stock, right? So you have all those surprise after hours PRs and stuff like that, but the main goal for long setup, if we can hold above this 128.41, 128.90, is to touch this 141s over here. Okay. I saw somebody mention fold. It is an interesting setup. It has a lot of activity in terms of option flows and dark pool stuff. And I had to thank Mel again for the information. So what I'll be looking for here is a break and hold of the 1245. If we can break and hold this, then we can have a nice move up. So either look for a break and hold of 1245 or a dip and hold of 1207, 1215. So for a long position, we're really either looking for a dip buy over here or a break and hold of this level. For early entries, you can also watch for a dip and hold of 1235. Let's check MU real quick. Man, this thing is on a tier. Okay. So Friday we were on puts on this. I scalp puts. I think it was the 44 puts right around here. I scalped it twice. Let me show the setup. I took it. I took the setup here. I took puts, if I'm not mistaken, I took puts over here. I had to check my orders, but I took from 15 cents to 25 cents and then 15 cents to 23 cents, if I'm not mistaken. I scalped it twice and I left a very tiny bit to see if it was going to break down more. And I was willing to let it expire worthless. And we have this flag set up with the base on the pivot right here. And it just kept going, retest the pivot, couldn't break down. At this point, I was waiting to see if we could get a sharp move to this other key level where I was gonna buy the 45 put, but we never got there. So I didn't have another trade on it. But it was a good setup. On the short setup was good. It just didn't have the follow through for more profits. Now on MU, it really needs to break this 44.91, 45 level. That's going to be a key resistance on it. And I'll be watching very closely for another short. If we get there and we can't hold above, I'm probably going to take another short at that 44.91, 45. As you guys can see, it was also some previous stops. So that those things adds up with the confluence of events. Have all this. Let me zoom in here. I can see it, but I want to make sure you guys see it. Let me here. So around here, let me mark 44 right here. Let me mark a box because it's a little zone. 45, 44, right here. So as you guys can see, all this goes up. It's like short hammer calls a swing door. It either gonna go up or go down from there. It's like a war, like a knife fight in the phone booth. This little zone over here. Go retest, go up, go down, come back, come retest, come up, retest. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be, this is at the same level of that pivot right here. And that's what I'm gonna be watching. And since it's so overextended, look at that run. Maybe we can get a short setup and take it to the 4160s. That would be just amazing. But it has to this zone here. This pivot's going to be definitely a problem for downside 42.57. But even so, that would be a nice setup. You definitely have to take a partial around this area here, 43.97, 44.12, just in case. You just do that setup like this and just go. And then you have a loss unnecessarily since you're already in profits. So take partial, see if you can break down from here, maybe do a lower high, right? Lower high setup. Then you go like this, and then we hit here. Hopefully we hit here. That would be just amazing, but we'll see. The main day zone for tomorrow is 44.12, 44.24. The week is bullish until above 42.72. So if you're a long bias to get it here, watch for a dip buy on these levels. If you're short bias, ideally you want to push to this zone and a show of weakness, and then you take a short, and or a break under and confirmation that this is now resistance, and you can take a short to over here, which is not bad at all. Let's check Facebook. That run on Facebook end of the day was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. That's insane. Okay, let's see. I see how it kind of retest that pivot after hours. Right there. Push through, retest, and now it's trying to go. If we could get a dip buy, I doubt we're gonna get a dip buy to here, but if we could get a dip buy to this 203.11, 203.31, that would be just amazing. 202.26, 206, everything here would be a dip buy area to watch. The main weekly line in the sand is going to be 201.27. So that's also a dip buy level. What can happen is that we can see a gap up and then retest, or just a retest of this key level. If we hold, then we're just going to go. That's a guarantee. If we hold this, we're going to go without dip buying over here. So that's something you have to keep in mind as well. If you're not good identifying dip buy levels, take just a starter position, and if it dips there, you add, and then you take a partial on the way back up to where you enter your position. Now, this is the tricky part. If Facebook gaps up to near this resistance here, watch out, guys. We can just see something that I see many times, is a gap up here, and then show some weakness and take. We see the trigger, it start triggering those take profits. So that level is 207.37. Let me see. Is this all-time high? Facebook? No. Okay. So let me put the daily chart so I can see better. Okay, so levels, we're gonna mark this one and this one. If my hands allows, okay. So let me see. Yeah, I want to mark this one as well. Okay, so those are our next resistance. We change this back to 4 hour. Okay. So if we manage to break and hold this one, our next target will be 208.90, 209.10. And above that, we have 211.89, 212.93 zone. and then 215 to 1648. Now it's a long way to go there, but just to have a plan, right? So that's what I'll be watching for. I'll overextend the situation to key zones for short, or if it holds, then take a long from here. Although I'm not a big fan in taking longs on push highs like that. I prefer to buy the dip, but we'll see. Each case is different. It's hard to determine how much is gonna gap up. On extreme case, if it gaps up here, now this becomes a strong dip buy level. So that's something to keep in mind. I doubt it's gonna go gap up. I doubt it's gonna gap up that much, but you think 218? Oh, the all-time high, yeah. It is around 218, I think. But it needs to break all those levels to get there. So don't be greedy. Take your partials on the key resistance. Get back in on hold of key support. That's how you trade. Doesn't matter what happens in between. You wait for your sniper shots. Buy on the dip to key resistance. Sell on the pushes to key. Buy the dip on key support and sell into key resistance. Now, where is the I already said, right? 201.27. That's the line in the sand for the week. Now, BYND, we call the flush, we call the push. So we call the short over here, and we call the long at 152.95. As I said last week, don't try to be the first. If BYND is gonna go, it's not gonna go $2. Look how much it went, 175. That's what, 23 points? So you don't need to be the first. Just wait for it. You had all this consolidation and choppiness over here. Once it finally push through and hold, then you take a long. And then you banked. Yeah, key supports are main pivots of any time frame and the higher time frame ones. Thank you, Lub, for showing up. I'll check banks for you. Don't worry, and you can watch on the YouTube replay. Let's see. So BYND is gonna be trading below the low of is trading below the key day level. So that's resistance tomorrow. What we could see is either dip buy here, like a flush to here, it needs to hold and then retest, or just a push, I can't break it, and then go back down, which will be looking almost like a head and shoulders from this point here left to head and right shoulder on that key level 168.66. So be patient. Let's see if we can set up another short from that 168.66 key level. And we see how it goes there. We need to take partials on 164.35 if that setups. But if it breaks and holds this, then the next resistance is going to be this 171.20. and that 175, which is what bothering BYND a little bit. If you can see, you have also tops before there. So 175 is the next key level. So let's check JPM real quick. Nice. So JPM broke finally that key resistance. It was a triple pivot there, 114.26, 114.39. So it broke deep a little bit, but it went above and then retest on this candle. What's next on this? It's all gonna depend on, like Lob said, the C is gonna report tomorrow morning, and that's gonna determine a lot of the sentiment for the banks, which is gonna be interesting. In terms of pivots, the next level is 116.97. And you have a little gap over here that you have to keep in mind as well. A lot of people keep an eye on it, which is 116. Check XLF. XLF is the financial sector of the S&P. It's also, you also find a push for this pivot. The next will be here, and it's 28.52. But again, it all depends on how the banks start to report tomorrow morning. So when test support resistance, we look at 5-minute time frame. It depends. You can use the 15-minute, the 1-minute. It depends on what you use to trade intraday. Just use what you're comfortable with. How many times would we have to have a candle close in support resistance to confirm direction? I don't think there is a number of times. You just look for a reversal pattern, or you can watch the tape and see there is support on that level. Let's see. Let's look at ZM, for example. Like we call that dip buy on ZM. Try it right here. If you're trading the 5-minute, this is gonna be a very big stop loss, right? What I usually do when we have an overextended situation to a key level is I have already an order waiting for it. But I would not suggest you to do that since you're not used to trade with the pivots. Now, if you're trading 1 minute, for example, let's go back to that day, the 1st of July. First of July. This is the 24th. Right here. If you're trading the 1 minute, you can see the rejection. You see the buyers are stepping in. Now, what you have to understand is that you don't need to be always right. If you're trading on the pivot, your stop loss is going to be very small, and your reward is going to be very big. So my suggestion is try to paper trade the setups and have some confidence on it before you start taking those live trades based on those pivots. For example, if I was trading this, what I was gonna do here is that I will wait for it to see that the buyers are stepping in, right? So if you were watching the level 2, you see that every time it got closer here, it just kept being bought up. So why not take a chance here, right? It's a calculated risk. Your risk, let's say you give it to 82.95, for example, to be below those stop loss that usually market makers love to take it. So let's say you put 82.95 and you're risking 30 cents. So you're risking 30 cents to make, let's say, take a partial over here. That's about $1.30. So the risk reward is huge. You took a partial here, put the stop loss on the rest, a break even, then you just write it up. It never went back. Never went back. You keep writing up. You keep writing it up. See, never got there. Keep writing up. Keep writing. Keep writing. Look at that. Keep going. Then you take some work here on this key support, key resistance, and you keep going. Never gonna get stop out on this, and one more. And that's how I do it. Like you have calculated. You have to understand that first you need to learn how to lose money to make money. If you're not willing to take the losses, then it's going to be hard for you to enter on any strategy, because all strategies have risk on it, right? Nobody's right 100% of the time. But if you have a system that is a winning system, then you trust on it and you trade objectively and not emotionally. So you take a trade and accept the risk and take your stop loss. That's the best way I can describe it. For example, on this day you have this key support here. You see how it went a little bit under. So what you're gonna do, you can take it and on the retest, for example, and have your stop loss below these candles. You can take it on the pivot and have your stop loss a little bit below, give some room. There are many ways you can do it. Just remember, you don't need to be the first. That's exactly what I was saying on BYND. You don't need to be the first. The pivots are there, so you are aware that is a level of importance. And that's where you have to be ready to take action when you see a setup happening on those levels. Now, I hope that answers your question a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna hang there for a while. This thing doesn't want to do anything. We'll see tomorrow morning. Is there any more tickers you guys want me to check it out? BA. Okay. Yeah, so BA is on that resistance 364.45, 365.35. We need to break and hold that. If we can't break, we're probably going to retest this 360s again, the low 360s. It's a little bit overextended, but BA doesn't obey the laws of gravity, so you have to be careful. Some option exercise end of Friday. Change this back to 5. Okay. So Monday, it kind of looked like, look how many rejections after hour on that pivot. So it needs to hold this 364.45. So rejected there, we need to hold here. If we can't hold, then we're gonna retest the 362.86, which is gonna be the main zone for Monday. And if we can't hold that, then we're gonna retest this entire area here. $359.56, 360.93. So the fact that this kind of confirms a little bit that it needs to breathe a little bit. It's too overextended. But if we do a hold on here, then something like this right here, then we can see some more upside, which the next would be 367.59, 369.54, and 371.22, which is a strong pivot. So this is kind of on a perfect spot for either long or short setup. So keep your mind open and don't try to be biased, because it's on a zone that is going to have some fight between bulls and bears. So don't try to guess the direction. Don't grab anything in between. Either you're going to short over here or long over here, or short the break and under, or long the push and under, and push and over. Yeah, push and retest right here. Don't try to guess what's going to happen. And that's how I would do this in particular. It's a little more bearish than bullish. As that's what I could understand from this action after hours. So we'll see how it resolves tomorrow. Check Netflix. Okay. This is a very strong level. I wonder if we're gonna bounce from here, which would be nice. Now, keep in mind we're trading below the key levels for the week and the day. So we really need to push through those for a very bullish move. I would say the key zone for the week is going to be right here. The 376.93, 377.62. This is going to determine if we're going to go do like a move like BYND did, like what was the other one? Like Amazon did. It needs to reclaim this. Once we reclaim and prove support, this is gonna go off to the races. Now we are entering this zone here, this support. Can even put a little bit less. Let's get over here from Friday, right here. So this is going to be the key zone for key support zone. If we can hold this, then we're gonna step up. I don't know if that's correct, but you know what I mean. Like it's gonna do like pom 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 pom, like this. And let's see. Yeah, Netflix has ER on this week. That's why we're looking at it, so we can see if we can grab a run into ER. Either we're gonna have a run into ER or a sell into ER. So this is gonna be the key support zone. If we hold this, it could be possible for a run into ER. If we don't hold this, maybe we see an initial sell into ER, at least to the 370, 369. And that's going to be interesting too. It has a lot of range. Okay, guys, if you don't have any other requests, I'm going to wrap things up. And it was great having you guys on another Sunday prep. Please use these levels. Last week video, if you didn't watch, just watch it for the sake of it. It really has a lot of good setups, and it will make you understand better how to play this week, because we did some very good calls on that prep last week, and it can help understand better how I use the pivots and how I play those setups we talk about on Sunday. So thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the night, and I see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. EST for pre-market trading. Bye-bye, guys.